Welcome to the Murfreesboro City Council. It's April 17th, 2025. If you'll bow with me, I'll start with our prayer and a pledge of allegiance. Father, we come to you tonight and we ask for guidance. We ask for wisdom on the decisions that we're going to make. Lord, I thank you for those people who are out in the audience who've taken the time to be here tonight. I pray blessings on them and their family. Lord, I thank you for living in this city. And although we have to make tough decisions, I pray that your guidance is the decisions that we make are right for our city. Thank you for allowing us to be able to serve, and thank you for allowing us to be able to serve you. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Did we have anyone signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
Okay. And that's public comment on actionable items. I should say that. All right. We have two ceremonial items. We have National Public Safety Telecommunications Week, and then we've got a recognition. Chief, who's coming up to accept the proclamation on? Seth. All right. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Come on. All right. Whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who call the Murfreesboro Emergency Communication Center for help. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators provide a vital link for our police officers and firefighters by providing them information and ensuring their safety. Whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Murfreesboro Emergency Communication Center have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each public safety telecommunicator has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their duties in the past year. Now, therefore, I, Shane McFarland, Mayor of the City of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim April 13th through the 19th, 2025, as a week to observe the National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And I ask that all citizens join me in expressing our appreciation to the City of Murfreesboro's emergency communication personnel for their hard work and dedication. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry. I knew I had one more. I said we had two. Seth, won't you sort of give us a background of what we're...
Yeah, I'll say a few things. So every year, a part of National Telecommunicator Week, we go through a nomination process to identify a telecommunicator of the year. We solicit the patrol, sworn side, firefighters, and also internal staff. So received 16 nominations, and Christian Powers received 4 of those nominations. Christian has been with us just about a year now, so a long time in the 911 Center, but again, the first year with us. But what stands out about Christian is not only his work attitude, but he comes in every day with a positive attitude. And given the very stressful line of work that he does, it can be very easily be negative, dealing with all those crises every single day. So, but you come in with a great attitude, positive, a contagious smile, and you just lift that morale up in the room. So I appreciate you coming in, hitting the ground running, and becoming a very valued member of our team. So appreciate we're excited to see where your career takes you. So
Thanks.
Again,
Congratulations. say this real quick. Putting it in ball terms, you know, our telecommunicators, a lot of times, and I know the council has really taken over the last many years, making sure that our telecommunicators are part of our public safety pay plan that we've included. Our telecommunicators are almost like the quarterback of the team. They're the plays called into them, and then they execute and make sure that the right people go in the right direction. And so I want to say publicly thank you on behalf of the entire city council to a group that they're not in the newspaper, they're not on the scene, but if it were not for the people that we have taking those phone calls, answering them with a calm and discerning measure, the people in Murfreesboro do not understand how good that they have it with the people that they call, knowing that they're going to get them to the right place and they're going to get them the care and the services that they need. So thank y'all for what y'all do. And Christian, congratulations. All right, let's move to the consent agenda. You have 10 items on the consent agenda. And Christian, y'all are welcome to stay here and be bored for the next 2 hours, but my guess is you want to spend some time with your family, so you guys are welcome to be dismissed.
Yes.
Let's give Christian another round of applause. All right, you have 10 items on your consent agenda. Is there anything that needs to be removed from the consent agenda?
If not, so moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll move into old business. You have the Murfreesboro Cable TV Structural Change Ordinance 25008. This is second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll now move to land use matters, and you've got a rezoning property along East Street. This is from planning. This is a rezoning of .24 acres. Mr. Blomley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Our first public hearing tonight is with regards to, as you mentioned, .24 acres. There is one house on the property identified as 615 East Street, and it also includes a vacant lot directly to the rear, to the west, along West Street. The house with the lot with the house on it, it was determined that there is a structure that the existing house actually goes over the rear property line. And currently both of those lots are owned by the same person. But the current owner, Ms. Morris, wishes to sell the back lot to Mr. Elijah Montgomery to build a single-family home on that property. And but we indicated to Mr. Montgomery that the violation of the encroachment over the property line would need to be cured before he could get a building permit. And the way to do that would be to re-subdivide the properties so that that structure no longer encroaches over the property line. The property is currently zoned RM16, and for single-family homes, the minimum lot size is 6,000 square feet. Neither of those existing lots meet the minimum 6,000 square foot lot size requirement. And if we re-subdivided to give one lot additional land area, even if it met the minimum 6,000 square foot lot requirement, the other lot would be made more non-conforming, which we cannot allow to happen under the current zoning. So what we suggested to Mr. Montgomery that he do in order to be able to re-subdivide the property along with the current owner was to rezone these two lots to RS4, and the RS4 zone requires a minimum lot size of 4,000 square feet, and it would allow Mr. Montgomery to, along with Ms. Morris, to re-subdivide these two lots to eliminate the encroachment over the property line, and so that Mr. Montgomery could move forward potentially with the construction of a new home on the vacant lot along West Street. The area along East and West Street is a mixture of single-family and multifamily uses. However, we have seen some redevelopment on these two streets. Particularly, I think Mr. Montgomery has actually constructed several new single-family homes on these streets. And so he's making an investment in this area of the city. We held a public hearing on this matter at the at the March Planning Commission evening meeting, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezoning request. We need to conduct a public hearing on it tonight, and be happy to answer any questions before or after the public hearing. Mr. Montgomery is in the audience as well if you have any questions for him.
Okay, we need to hold a public hearing on this rezoning request. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, if you'll come to the podium, if you'll state your name and your address. You'll have 3 minutes if you're representing just as an individual, 5 minutes for an HOA or any other group. So anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. We'll open the public hearing. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll now consider on first reading ordinance 25 OZ 11.
Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Averwater?
Aye.
Ms. Skills Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll move to item 13, rezoning along Greenland Drive. This is also planning rezoning 0.82 acres.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This property is located along the north side of Greenland Drive, directly across the street from campus, and more specifically across the street from the intersection of Champion Way and Greenland Drive. There are a number of single-family rental homes along the segment of Greenland Drive, the north side, east of Old Las Casas Road. You'll see Brown Drive also intersects with Greenland Drive in this area as well. The future land use map of the Murfreesboro 2035 Comprehensive Plan identified this area as mixed use. And more specifically, it was in an area in the comprehensive plan called the MTSU Student Village. And so I think we anticipated through the adoption of our comprehensive plan, this MTSU Student Village mixed use type of development. And what the applicant is proposing is a small mixed use development with 2,700 square feet of retail commercial space along the frontage, and then 4 multifamily residential dwelling units at the rear of the property. So, and Mr. Brian Grover with SEC will give you a presentation on this in a moment with some additional details. While the plan in front of you identifies the user of the commercial space as a UPS store, that is only one of the allowed uses that they are proposing that could go in that space. And that is their anticipated end user, but there may be a different end user if that doesn't work out. Also, the 4 units are identified in the pattern book as multifamily units, so they would all be owned by one entity and they would all be rented out. However, they are reserving the ability in the future to create them as individual units that could be for sale via a horizontal property regime in the future. On both the east and west side of the subject property are other single-family homes. I believe the one to the east is the only one along this stretch that is owner-occupied, at least according to the tax records. And to the north is an apartment complex. Let's see. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on this request on March the 5th, and there were 2 conditions of approval recommended by the Planning Commission. One, that the applicant work with staff prior to the City Council meeting to see if any additional parallel parking spaces could be added along the western property line. And you'll see here that they have added 3 parallel parking spaces, and SEC has worked with staff to make sure that those spaces will work with the outbound traffic there and the at that intersection. Since it is a signalized intersection, we want to make sure that it is going to function. And Ms. Smith on our staff has worked with our traffic department to make sure that that will work, and they have agreed that it is acceptable. Also, the second condition was that the development was to record restrictive covenants, the same restrictive covenants regarding signage that were recorded for the development at 3119, 3127 Medical Center Parkway, which is the commercial development on the south side of Medical Center Parkway, right next to the interchange, on this side of the interchange with Medical Center Parkway and I-24. And the pattern book has since been revised to include that commitment in the pattern book. With that being said, Mr. Brian Grover has a presentation that he'd like to give to you with additional detail on the development, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have also either before or after the public hearing.
Thank you, Matthew. Mayor McFarland, members of the City Council. I'm Brian Grover from SEC. With me tonight is Matt Taylor, one of our principal engineers from SEC, along with Ed Stevens, the project architect. On behalf of the applicant, Dr. Agarwal, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present this rezoning request. This request is located at 1603 and 1607 Greenland Drive. This is just north of MTSU campus at the terminus of Champion Way. As it sits today, there are 2 single-family homes on site, which would be removed upon site development. Directly to the east and west is additional single-family, but most of those homes, as with much of this area, is tenant-occupied due to the proximity of campus, with the north being primarily occupied by apartments. It is RS10 currently, and this rezoning request would be requesting a PUD, planned unit development for this area. The single-family homes to the east and west are currently zoned RS10 as well, with those apartments to the north and northeast being RM16, and the apartments to the northwest being part of a PUD that coincides with that commercial development at the corner of Old Las Casas and Greenland Drive. As Matthew stated, this project is within the mixed use center for the future land use plan. Some of the main characteristics that are involved with this type of development within the mixed use center includes parking focused towards the rear and side of these developments, as well as larger building prints that take up more of the site, in some cases all of it, and as well as walkable features throughout the site. As the site sits today, this is 1603 Greenland Drive. This is the west portion of the development, and 1607 on the east side. Today there exists a pedestrian and bike pathway that goes through the middle of this site. This is what a lot of students use to get from the north to the south side of this property towards the MTSU campus. This was preserved within our plan and within this plan book because this connection, like I said, is a major thoroughfare for pedestrians. So we want to make sure we preserve that into the future site design. This is just taking a look at the apartments to the northeast and the north side. This is an approximate location of where the proposed entrance drive would be. This is looking east down Greenland Drive and then west, and then lastly looking across the road into MTSU via the Champion Way intersection. The proposed development is on approximately 0.8 acres. The total site design includes just a single building, which would consist of 4 residential units, which would be accessed at the rear, would also occupy the entire second story of the building. There is a proposed commercial tenant on the south side of this building along Greenland Drive that would have a maximum square footage of 2,700 square feet. Some of the amenities planned for this site include a tenant fitness center. So this is more like a home gym kind of thing, which is specifically meant for these tenants. This is not something that people get a membership for and show up. This is not public access. This is specifically for those 4 units. And then there's a formal open space proposed at the front of the building. And this is more along the lines of follow some of those guidelines for the mixed-use center to create that strong pedestrian pathway, that walkability towards Greenland Drive. Parking has been focused in the rear, but as Matthew stated per PC, we wanted to add a couple extra spaces in there. So we were able to provide those. And access into the site from Greenland Drive, we want to make sure that we included templates in there. So if anyone came in there with even a larger pedestrian vehicle, one template we have here, I believe, is a Ford F-150, they can still maneuver into the site and get out. And If they go further into the site, there is a dedicated turnaround space at the northeast corner of the parking lot. So even if they go towards the end of the parking lot, they can still get out with that space. And main access would be coming from Greenland Drive at that major intersection. Allowable uses for the site. Currently, the anticipated end user would be a commercial, I'm going to call them retail shipping tenant, essentially. But if that doesn't work or a new user comes forth, we do have a list of allowable uses that was specifically tailored to this site's parking availability. So we added this within the program book. You see the parking ratio and required parking for each of these uses to make sure that the required parking would be compatible with this design. And we narrowed that list down to what you see here. The architecture for the site follows the design guidelines. It'd be a max of 35-foot height building. It'd be 2-story with the residential units having 2 bedrooms each. Each residential unit would have a balcony as well as access to some outside storage from that balcony. And all building signage and development signage would have to follow the standards per the City of Murfreesboro sign ordinance, as well as Matthew said, there's additional restrictions that are similar to that Medical Center Parkway properties. Here's an example of the floor plan. You can see the top here is the 2nd story. That is all residential, with the 1st floor having that tenant space and rear access to the residential units. Highlighted in green are those balcony spaces, and that's what those would look like there. And those would be fronting onto the MTSU campus, so they'd be on their balconies looking over into the campus. Some elevations of what that would look like. This is the front elevation from Greenland Drive, and you can see at the rear elevation there the access to these residential units. Here's the side elevations. The top of the door, that would be from the private drive, and the bottom from the residential single-family home on the east side. Access to the site, vehicular access, would be from that major intersection of Champion Way and Greenland Drive. As I said before, the pedestrian access, there's already significant pedestrian access with this site. Wanted to maintain that. So we provided an 8 to 10 foot pedestrian pathway that would be going through the site from the north to the south to the MTSU campus. One of the main deciding factors for the design of this entrance drive in working with public infrastructure was the need to maintain lane alignment, hence the width and the total amount of lanes that were designed working with public infrastructure to make sure we had proper turning movements into and out of the site. Part of this would also include the realignment of that crosswalk from MTSU's campus to the northwest corner of the intersection. The amenities proposed for the site, as I said before, there would be a residential fitness center that would be strictly for the residents of this site, along with more of a formal open space to the front that would include furnishings such as outdoor seating and bike racks, and maintain a strong pedestrian connection to Greenland Drive. The landscape standards for the site, one thing we are proposing within this book that's a little different is an overlay. Working with MTSU security and safety personnel, we want to make sure that since this is a primary student pathway, that it is as safe as it can be. So anything part of this, within this overlay, essentially, trees would have to be trimmed up to 7 feet from the base, and shrubs could be no higher than 24 inches. This is to improve visibility for individuals using the pathway. Some other features that were considered was the median between the right turn lane and the through. That's to be kept as grass to make sure that we don't have any shrubs in there that would block any view looking into the site as well, since that would be a primarily pedestrian oriented pathway. Parking lot screening would be provided on the north side. The only place it would not be provided is along the 8 to 10 foot pedestrian pathway, which abuts the edge of the property. We want to maintain the widest possible width on that pathway for these pedestrians. Foundation plantings would be incorporated along the entire building, as well as perimeter plantings along the west, north, and east side. There are 4 exceptions being requested with this rezoning, 2 of them dealing with setbacks, and those exceptions are a 10-foot side setback being reduced to 5. With that would be requirement of a fire-rated wall, and that would be worked with the Buildings and Codes Department upon site plan submittal, as well as an exception to increase the maximum size of a dumpster within a setback from 200 feet to 300 square feet. The last two exceptions both may deal with the landscaping. We would be requesting a exception to the landscaping yard and perimeter requirements next to that 8 to 10 foot pedestrian pathway, since it does go up against the boundary line, as well as an exception to the required 15-foot type D buffer that would be around the north, west, and east side to a 5-foot perimeter planting standard. The reason we have this request is this area is to be designed as a mixed-use center. It is to be more of a cohesive development, and if we start introducing these buffers at this stage, the cohesiveness of the site would be lost very early on in this development. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those now or after the public hearing.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this .82 rezoning request, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll now consider on first reading ordinance 25 OZ13.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. I want to say to the design team, this is the first time the council's seen this, and I hope that this concept on Greenland transitions also going up to Middle Tennessee Boulevard where the hotel and, you know, we talk about campus life and things around the campus, and we really need to have places around the campus for people to go to. And so I hope that this starts moving its way up Greenland and on up Middle Tennessee Boulevard. So well done on the design on this. All right, let's move to amending the PCD zoning for property along Joe B. Jackson Parkway. Matthew.
Thank you, Mayor McFarland. This is for an amendment to the Cannonsburg Place PCD, which is located at the southeast corner of Joe B. Jackson Parkway and Shelbyville Pike. Cannonsburg Place is the PCD that contains the Walmart there at 140 Joe B. Jackson Parkway. The planned development, and I'll show you what, so you'll notice that the planned development originally called for a very small, I think it contains 4 pumps and a kiosk type that you would see a lot at Kroger or something similar to that. So it taking up a very small footprint on the site. The fuel center for this Walmart was never incorporated into the original design. It was incorporated into the original plan development, but not the site plan, and it was never constructed. So Walmart has come to us with a request to, let's see, still getting used to the new technology, has come to us with a request to modify the PCD, to amend the PCD to add a fueling station with a larger footprint, including more than just a kiosk. This would actually have about a 1,600 square foot convenience store, and there would be 9 pumps. And you'll see it's here along at the northeast corner of the site, as opposed to where it was before, here just to the west of that main entrance drive off of Joe B. Jackson Parkway. So with the increase in size for this fueling station, as well as the shifting of it, it was a significant enough change to warrant an amendment to their planned development. And so Mr. Donovan on our staff worked hard with the applicant to make sure that the existing development to the east, the Villas at Baskinwood townhome development, to make sure that there would be adequate landscaping to screen the proposed fueling station from that development, as well as to make sure that the lighting there would not be spillover that would exceed our minimum requirements for any other development. And so, and I'm going over some of the details of this because there is not a formal presentation on this particular development. So you'll see here the landscaping along the right-hand side of the screen is equivalent to a Type C buffer. They're committing to that Type C buffer. And in addition to that, on the other side of Bob Baskin Drive, which is directly adjacent to that Type C buffer, there is an existing landscape buffer on the east side of that drive, directly adjacent to the townhome development. So this will further screen the fueling station from the existing townhome development. This, the future land use map of the Murfreesboro 2035 comprehensive plan identified this property as general commercial, so the proposed use, which is already a permitted use in the development of a fueling station, is an acceptable use within the general commercial future land use map designation. The Planning Commission conducted a public hearing on this PCD amendment on March the 5th and recommended approval at that time. Be happy to answer any questions. And Mr. Kyle Churchart, representing Walmart, is here if you have any questions for him as well.
Any questions for Mr. Blumley? All right, we need to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and we'll consider on first reading ordinance 25OZ12. Matthew, I just have one question. I drove out to the site just to look at everything. This is not going to take up any parking that was on the plan, right?
It will take up parking. However, they are still far in excess of their minimum parking requirements for this particular use.
Okay, the only comment, I thought that we need to make sure as we're approving these plans like this, I think the side of the parking lot that faces 231 has got got mulch and lots of things that if we're going to take away parking and then we're also going to use approved parking to store materials and things, we've seen that be a problem, and we just need to make sure that if we're taking away parking, that we're not taking away parking in other spots that's supposed to be for parking.
Yes, sir. That's something that's a constant battle for us, and we will keep our eye on that.
Any questions? Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Or excuse me, call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gills Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade. Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll now move to amending conditions of approval for an existing outside the city sewer customer for property along Epps Mill Road and Capitol Way. Mr. Plumlee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is for property that is in the yellow shade on the map before you. You'll recall that back in October, under our previous outside the city sewer customer ordinance, this property was approved as an outside the city sewer customer. The larger parcel was approved in October. The smaller parcel that fronts directly on Capitol Way was actually approved, I think, in 2005. But at the time the council approved the larger parcel back in October, the developer had made the commitment that he would use no more sewer than was already allocated to the property that's on the corner, the smaller property. That is not changing. He still affirms that commitment. What he would request, though, and what the Planning Commission considered last week, is when this was approved by the City Council both times, back in 2005 for the smaller parcel and in 2024 for the larger parcel, the condition was put on there that the zoning equivalent of light industrial be used for the property. And under our previous outside the city sewer customer ordinance, when the Planning Commission and Council approved an outside the city sewer customer, a city zoning equivalent would be assigned, and that would be the zoning designation that the applicant would be required to adhere to as a part of the outside the city sewer agreement. There is one particular use that the applicant would like to pursue development of on this property that is not permitted in the light industrial zone, but is permitted in the GI zone, general industrial. And that use is motor vehicle sales, rental, and repair of medium and heavy-duty commercial vehicles. So he is requesting to modify the conditions of approval for the GI zoning equivalent to be allowed to be used on this property. So the Planning Commission recommended that the City Council approve this request subject to the following amended conditions, and I'll read those out to you real quick. The total allocation of sanitary sewer to the subject property combined shall not exceed the amount of sanitary sewer capacity that was already allocated to parcel 27, which is that smaller parcel. A city equivalent zoning classification of GI, general industrial, shall be assigned to the property. And parcel 27, the smaller parcel, was deemed as grandfathered for sewer service in November 19 by the Water Resources Department as it had an executed development contract with the city. And that was something that Murfreesboro Water Resources wanted to make sure to get as on the record as a condition. Mr. Pete Greenfield with the development team is here if you have any questions for him. And as I mentioned, the Planning Commission recommended last week that the City Council approve this request subject to the 3 conditions that I just read out. No public hearing is necessary for this.
Any questions?
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move to item 16, sewer allocate. Thank you, Matthew. We'll move to the sewer allocation variance, North Thompson Lane Restaurant YMCA subdivision, future lot 2. And we also have future lot 3. So Brad, if you want to explain both of those, and then we can vote on those separately if you'd like to do that.
Excellent. Good evening, Mayor and council members. We have 2 sewer allocation variance requests before you tonight for your consideration. The first of which is on Lot 2, which is the southern lot that you see on your screen before you now. The applicant is requesting an additional 6 single-family units of sewer capacity in order to operate a future restaurant on this lot. The Water Resources Department has reviewed this application and request and has confirmed that the additional capacity is available, and the Planning Department is also in support of the request and application. I'm available if you have any questions.
Is Lot 3 the old YMCA?
No, sir. Lot 1 will be the old YMCA, which is, if you can see on your screen, there is a new road that is proposed to be constructed here, and Lot 1 is currently above it, where the existing YMCA building is located.
Lot 2 and 3, is that owned by the same owner of Lot 1, the old YMCA?
Yes, all 3 proposed lots are owned by the Green Trails Trout LLC.
Did this used to be like a little medical clinic or something sitting there?
There was a building on Lot 2 that has
Yeah.
been a medical clinic, it's been a skate park.
It was both at the
been
same time, actually.
Yeah, I believe so. It's been several things over the years.
All right, so we have a sewer allocation variance for Lot 2, the future Lot 2.
I'm gonna be a no, just because I think we've got enough restaurants, and I would love to have seen us and purchased the Y, because we need more pools and recreational facilities, so I'm gonna be a no on this.
We haven't seen anything come through planning yet. It's just getting sewer first, right?
Thank you, Sam.
Planning?
We saw a preliminary plat yesterday, but no site plans for any of the individual lots.
That's what I get for missing yesterday's meeting, huh, Matthew?
But the preliminary plat just showed the construction of the new right-of-way that Mr. Barbie mentioned, and the creation of those lots.
So a restaurant's going to be lot 2. They're going to tear down the YMCA and build another restaurant?
The YMCA building is going to remain in place currently.
Okay.
The building that was a medical clinic and a skate park, that building will be demolished, and then they will construct a new restaurant on Lot 2. Lot 3 is the next item up, and it is also proposed as a restaurant.
There's always something new you learn, but do we typically vote on sewer variances when we've not seen a site plan? Or, because the only thing that concerns me on this, anyone who drives down Thompson Lane at any given point really any point, the traffic really backs up right there. And talking about putting a restaurant at that intersection, it's almost impossible now to make a right turn traffic backs all the way up through Sam Walton Drive as you try. Do we have a site plan that we're going to see?
There will be a site plan that will be submitted for Planning Commission review, and that's typically where those come from. I believe our process actually requires them to get the sewer allocation variance first,
okay,
before they can submit for Planning Commission review of those site plans, because if they're not able to get that capacity, there's really no movement forward at that point.
This reminds me of the Dutch Brothers that Sean Wright was so happy about. But
Yes, sir.
Anyway, has our traffic people talked about this yet? Mr. McKnight? Or Ben, whoever?
If I can, I could probably address a couple of things that I've heard here tonight about the overall project. So these Sam Walton, the extension of, I'm going to call it the extension of Sam Walton Drive, will eventually tie back into Armory Drive, and then Armory Drive on the south side will go away. So Public Works has been trying to get that connection realigned for a couple of years. It was originally aligned to kind of come through and I'll use the word decimate this property. We've been working with them to try to realign that so that the southern portion of the property stays intact. The Y is actually, my client's in negotiations right now for a gym to take over that building. So we want to leave the building in place. We'll realign and redo some parking on site. So we do want to leave the Y. It's a pretty unique building. It's a very valuable building as far as, the asset that is there. These two southern pieces are restaurants. All of our traffic here would run back up to Sam Walton to this new signalized intersection. And we're actually trying to provide some access easements back to the Waffle House to try to give them a better way out as well. That way when Armory Drive goes away at the bottom end, you have access to a signal for all these turn-in movements through here, Mayor.
Mayor, Council, if I may add also, the public infrastructure already has a design for what Mr. Taylor has already talked about as well. So there has been a long history of looking at this property and the traffic movement.
Does it need to be deferred?
Is there any other?
Does it need to be deferred? Do we need more information? Like a traffic study or,
It's just a sewer variance for now.
Yeah.
We can always get to the other stuff. I'm sure I'll see it at planning. Well, of course I'll see it at planning.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's just a sewer variance. So assuming my sewer variance vote is not a vote on the merits of the project because we haven't seen the merits of the project, I will make a motion to approve the sewer variance.
And I'm okay with that since Matt Taylor gave us traffic study and they're talking about going out the other way instead of coming out on Ford. So
I think as long as the planning staff, because the site plans won't come back to the council, there's just there.
The site plans will be approved by Planning Commission.
Yes,
Yeah.
it has to go
So
to planning,
council members
but
will see them.
there's significant issues at that intersection right now, and anything that's going to add to the traffic at that intersection would be a huge mistake. So that really needs to be discussed with the Planning Commission. So if this is typical, then we got a motion in a second. If you'll call the roll.
Ms. Overwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gills Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
nay.
Vice Mayor Shacklet,
Aye.
Mr. Wade,
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move to sewer allocation variance North Thompson Lane. This is the future Lot 3.
Yes, Mayor, this next request before you today is for the future Lot 3, and this is also for a proposed future restaurant. The applicant Green Trails Trout LLC is requesting an additional 28 single-family units of capacity for this location. The Water Resources Department has reviewed the application and confirmed that the capacity is available within the basin, and the Planning Department is also supportive of this request.
Any questions?
So moved.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Overwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Nay.
Vice Mayor Shacklet? Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye, all right, we'll move to ordinance 18, amending the sign on second floor signs, building and codes. And this is, we've had this discussion at our workshop meeting.
Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to present. I'm here to propose an amendment to our current sign ordinance, specifically regarding the use of second floor signs in certain zones. We propose signs that complements the overall aesthetic of the building, focusing on more upscale, refined design. This will help maintain a cohesive, attractive streetscape while allowing businesses to attract attention. To ensure we do not overwhelm the streetscape, signs will be limited in size and placement. We envision an approach where signs are placed adequately apart so they do not compete with storefronts below. Second floor signs will be positioned in a way that respect the storefronts below, ensuring the visual balance of the entire building. We aim to maintain the character of the streetscape while giving businesses the flexibility to display their brand. The proposal gives second floor sign tenants the opportunity to advertise without the need for intrusive ground level signage or excessive clutter. We hope this amendment will strike a balance between the need for business visibility and the importance of preserving the aesthetic integrity of our community streetscape. This ordinance will only affect zone overlays in GDO and PUD. This was signs on the second floor of a multi-tenant building that face the street front. They'll be allowed one sign per second floor tenant. Sign height is a maximum of 30 inches, and the rest of the ordinance is in keeping with GDO and PUD that's currently in place. Illumination shall be push-through style lighting, which is similar to what is in place now. The only difference is we're going to restrict to channel letters or individually solid cast mounted letters. So there won't be any sign background allowed, or cabinet signs, or signs that like typically we may see of non-illuminated metal signs. Those are all going to be prohibited. If y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, we're needing to hold a public hearing on this.
Yes.
Do y'all have any questions for Ms. Stevens?
I've got one question.
Sure.
And it is, the historic downtown square. This would apply to the square as well, or?
No,
we
this is
exclude-
only for PUD and GDO.
Okay.
There are some provisions for Central Business District currently
Okay.
that allow tenant signs for second story buildings at
Okay.
their store, at the door entrance.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anyone wishing to speak for or against this rezoning, amendment to the sign ordinance, please come to the podium. All right, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and will now consider on first reading ordinance 25014.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater?
Abstain.
Ms. Gels Harris? Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll move to resolutions. We have Resolution 25R11. This is the fiscal year budget amendment schools.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The City Schools is seeking approval for a resolution to amend our FY25 general purpose budget. The first amendment was approved by the City School Board on March 25th to recognize additional interest revenue of $28,000, which will be used for technology cabling at our new Reeves Rogers addition. On April 8th, the school board transferred $79,700 from capital outlay for technology cabling at our new transportation facility at 910 Ridgely Road, and an additional $14,000 within capital outlay for furniture and fixtures for the Reeves Rogers addition. And the board also recognized a $1,000 donation from Redstone Federal Credit Union, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
If no comments, I move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll move to item 20, Resolution 25R13 regarding the possession, use, and consumption of beer, wine, and alcoholic beverages at Old Fort Golf Course. Adam.
Yes, thank you. Neither Trey Adams nor Nate Williams were able to be here tonight, so I'm presenting this on their behalf. This request comes from members of council, and staff is proposing some amendments to the rules regarding the possession, use, and consumption of alcoholic beverages at Old Fort Golf Course. The current rules have been in place since 2008. The resolution before you, 25R13, largely restates those rules. However, there is a significant change in paragraph 4 of the rules, which applies to special events. And under the rules, a special event is defined as an event where an entity or organization rents out the entire golf course for the event. So it's an exclusive use of the golf course for a day or a period of a day. And what those changes would allow would be to allow an organizer of a special event to provide alcoholic beverages to event participants at no cost to the participants through means other than purchasing them through the course itself or the course concessions area. The providing those alcoholic beverages would be subject to 4 conditions. First, that any beer served is served by an entity that holds a caterer beer permit from the city of Murfreesboro. Any wine or liquor that is served, the entity that does the serving holds a liquor by the drink caterer license from the Tennessee Alcoholic Beverages Commission. The organizer of the event, so that would be the entity that was holding the special event, maintains commercial general liability insurance with limits of not less than $1 million and written and endorsed to name the city as an additional insured. And lastly, that the entity serving alcohol, so that's the entity with the beer permit or liquor license, maintains commercial general liability and liquor liability insurance with limits of not less than $1 million and written or endorsed to name the city as an additional insured. To clarify, this does not allow the entity holding the event or the entity that is actually doing the serving to sell it. It's just the serving and providing it to the participants in the event. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any
How many events like this occur?
Excuse me?
How many events like this occur over here?
I unfortunately don't know that off the top of my head, but a few a year. I think we're probably looking at.
Yeah, Bill, I think with some of the golf courses that are around that hold these events being closed, you're going to see a few more that will pop up. And I mean, I don't think anyone was advocating that we would be selling liquor or wine at the golf course, but you know, basically what you would have here is, for example, a golf tournament that I'm going to use an example. The Alley would want to come out and have a truck that they're serving, not for sale, but as part of an event. So that's really what. My guess is you may have 2 or 3, maybe. But like some of the events we go to where they'll have a complimentary bar, that's what it is.
Okay.
So I don't think anyone is really at least me, would be supportive of setting up a bar for us to sell alcohol out of Old Fort.
Like the city selling the alcohol. Right, right. I mean, in most of these organizations, some of which I'm a part of, they're fundraisers. You know, they're raising money for good local organizations, so.
I mean, the golf tournament that we do every year with the Tennessee Golf Foundation to raise, we raise funds for all the kids to play free in Murfreesboro. We'll routinely have, the Alley or other organizations that will set up to do that as part of your fee playing in the golf tournament. So that's really what it boils down
I
to.
think what Trey said, the reason this ordinance was in place was because to keep people from putting beer or other items in their golf bags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which never happens.
So moved.
Are we being recorded?
I'm being facetious that no one would ever stick anything in their golf bag that they're not supposed to have and go to the golf course.
I keep Uncrustables in my golf bag.
I know.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to the solid waste fee schedule adjustment.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity to present this. We did go over this at the April 10th workshop. This is year 3 of an 8-year proposal to incrementally increase the solid waste fee. It is through an approval of a resolution 25R14. This would adjust the residential curbside pickup monthly fee from $11.50 to $13.50 for commercial curbside pickup, which is twice per week, outside the city core overlay to $45 per month, and for commercial carts inside the city core overlay, which again receive 2 pickups per week, that would remain at $30 per month. So all the other charges in the solid waste resolution would remain unchanged. So I'm available for questions if you have any.
Any questions?
No questions, move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, let's move to on-motion items. We have a purchase of a special education bus. Director Duke.
Yes, thank you again. The City of Murfreesboro issued an intent to bid on March 18th to purchase a 48-passenger special education bus with wheelchair accessibility. Mid-South Bus Center was the respondent with the lowest bid of $164,950. The purchase of an additional bus was included in the 5-year capital plan that was approved by the City School Board on September 24th. The cost of the purchase is funded through county share bonds previously approved by City Council.
How many of those type buses do we have for the city?
We have 9 buses for special education students, so this would be a replacement bus for one of those that's aging out.
Wow. Didn't realize we had that many. No, if no questions, I move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, next we have item 23, the purchase of Vesta 911 command post from Motorola.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Steve Gerald, the Deputy Chief. Pleasure to be here again tonight. First we have for your consideration is the purchase of 2 Vesta 911 command posts from Motorola. These command posts will allow our communications center to relocate to another location outside the main police headquarters in an emergency situation, while still being able to receive emergency and non-emergency calls and being able to dispatch police and fire units as needed. The total cost for both of these is $72,028 and will be funded from the department's FY25 operating budget. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
No questions, so moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. We'll move to item 24, the purchase of Flock Public Safety Camera System.
Next we have for consideration is the purchase of 22 additional Flock public safety cameras from Insight Public Sector. As you all are aware, the public safety cameras have proven to be an effective tool for investigations and criminal charges and prosecution of criminal activity. This purchase will expand our coverage throughout the city and will be deployed to areas that have been specifically identified. The cost of the equipment is $488,000 and will be funded from the Violent Crime Intervention Fund Grant, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
No question. We'll have it.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Averwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. Thank you. All right, let's move to item 25, the proposed annual adjustment to rental rates. And Ryan, I would take note that Chad sent you here to talk about raising rates at the hangars, and he stayed at home. So we need to make a note on that.
Do we need to
I
defer
choose to
this?
believe that wasn't intentional.
Yeah, I mean, he's already trying to get digital signs all over Murfreesboro. It's an inside joke for those who are watching. I'm just joking.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I brought before your consideration a proposal for our annual rental rate increase out at the airport. The Airport Commission met last month to discuss our annual budget, and a part of that discussion is our rental rates. The Airport Commission is recommending a 4% increase this year. This is consistent with what we've done in previous years, and we are approximating about a $19,000 increase in revenue that way. We do this every year as part of our federal obligations to achieve to be self-sufficient. So here for any questions or thoughts.
Any questions for Ryan?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Averwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. Thank you, Ryan. All right, we'll move to SRWTP Distribution Isolation Valve Replacement Project.
Yes.
Valerie.
Good evening, Council. I have like to present this project to you all for consideration. We received 2 bidders for the replacement of valves. Right now, we have a 24-inch and a 36-inch valve. They're buried. They're not in a vault, and they have somewhat failed. They do not shut all the way, which keeps us from being able to isolate our distribution system from the plant. So in the case of a break in the distribution system, we are not able to isolate the plant, and which is not good. And in order to be able to isolate them, we need to repair and replace these valves. We're going to put them in a vault. It probably will not be as big as the one in this picture. The valve, though, as you can see on the right, if you get a 36-inch valve, the size of that will be almost as tall as I am and 3 feet wide. So they are very difficult to maneuver. They will have to shut the plant down for a short period of time to install these 2 valves. And so we request approval to award the contract to Cumberland Valley Constructors in the amount of $633,000 for the replacement of those valves.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Averwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gels Harris?
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mayor McFarland?
Aye. All right, we'll move to SRWTP flat roof repairs.
Yes. So we have 3 roofs that are in need of repair and or replacement. The department would like to contract with Waterproofing Technologies through our Omnia Partners, city's Omnia Partners contract. The maintenance shop and our river raw water intake, that's difficult to say, can't say it fast, need roof replacements. And our high service pump station building needs a roof repair. These roofs have not had any work on them in about 22 years. So we request approval of the cost of this project in the amount of $212,152.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Averwater?
Aye.
Ms. Gales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right, we'll move to item 28, SRWTP, lagoon residuals removal.
So at our water treatment plant, the residuals, after we clean the water, go to two of our lagoons that you can see in the upper left-hand corner of the picture. We are requesting a contract amendment with Slurry Systems Company to clean out lagoon number 1. The slurry goes into there, it dries, and then they have to dig out the slurry that's dried. They will land apply it. It can be land applied. I think we've worked with MTSU, or the contractor has worked with MTSU as well as land applying it on our farms. The cost of the project each time that we clean a lagoon is $498,000. And we request approval to approval of amendment number 1 with Slurry Systems Company to clean out this lagoon number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move to task order 16 for construction phase services Town Creek Daylighting Project.
Good evening, Mayor
Sam.
McFarland, members of council. Task Order 16 by Griggs and Maloney. We're presenting to you tonight. Mr. Ryan Maloney with Griggs and Maloney is here if we have any questions or discussions for him. They proposed Task Order 16 for construction phase assistance, which include contract administration, resident project representative, and permit compliance and closeout for our stream relocation permit. The not to exceed budget is $1,510,000, and we ask you that you would approve the task order tonight. And also in the packet tonight is a form to transfer CIP funds from the Vine Front Street intersection alignment to Town Creek, and we'd ask that your approval would also include the authorization to make that change in our capital improvements plan. I'm available for questions, as is Mr. Maloney, and we ask your approval.
Move for approval, no questions.
Second.
Motion is second, please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye.
And Mayor, just on a note, the contractor has occupied the project, and you'll see some activities really pick up there in the next few days. So we'll be starting to move dirt here in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Great work, Sam. Before we move to item 30, item 30 is replacing Charlie Teasley. And it was day before yesterday, attended the Murfreesboro Housing Authority program for Charlie. Charlie, I want to say it was served for 24 years on the Murfreesboro Housing Authority, has gone through lots of different projects, but Charlie had a proclamation prepared for him, received the key to the city, and want to publicly say thank you to Charlie for his hard work. And Charlie has been through several different directors, several different projects, and has really been a calming force and a sense of guidance for the Murfreesboro Housing Authority. So he will be sorely missed. And Bill Jakes is being appointed to requested to be appointed to the Murfreesboro Housing Authority. So Bill has extremely huge shoes to fill. So the recommendation that came from Murfreesboro Housing Authority to appoint Bill is now in front of you to recommend.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. Any beer permits?
We do. We have one special event permit for an event to be held on April 28th for the First Shot Foundation located at the golf course. Applicant has met our requirements, and we recommend for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Please call the roll.
Ms. Saberwater.
Aye.
Ms. Gales Harris.
Aye.
Mr. Maxwell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Shacklet.
Aye.
Mr. Wade.
Aye.
Mayor McFarland.
Aye. All right. Any other business for staff? Any business there?
No, sir.
And are we planning on meeting next Thursday night?
No, sir, not next week. We're looking at May 1st and May 8th,
Okay.
and likely May 15th as well,
And May 22nd.
and May 22nd. We may skip 15th then. If we're meeting the 22nd, we'll say 15th is a to be determined.
The 22nd, we'll plan to do our 4 o'clock budget review session with council, and that will have the city's budget, water's budget, and the city schools budget presented to y'all in that special session. And then first reading either that night or June 5th.
Okay.
On the 22nd.
Correct.
Okay.
The next 2 months are going to be extremely busy with budget.
So we're meeting on the 1st.
Right, let's say the 1st, the 8th, to be determined 15th, and definitely the 22nd.
Can the 1st be negotiable? Just kidding.
Sure.
I think there are two.
I'll be here, don't worry, Jamie.
You're not going to Metallica?
No.
We're not meeting on the 15th.
I know Bill's not going to Metallica either, so.
I bet you Sean's going to Metallica.
Let's keep, we're not meeting, so today's the 17th, so we won't meet on the 24th. Plan on possibly meeting on the 31st. No, it's first, sorry. Only 30 days in April, the 1st. And then really just keep your schedule open for the month of May. And then we know the 5th and the 12th, possibly to go through first and second reading. We may be able to do first reading on the budget on the 22nd if things go well, but
We would have to have the advertisement in, so as long as we have everything pretty locked up tight by the end of next week,
Yeah.
we could potentially have that, but we have to advertise and we have to have that to the post by the 7th.
and we have to have
And we have
for our
to
public
advertise for
hearing.
the public hearing, yes.
Okay. All right, any other business from council?
Mr. Mayor, I think our public comment young lady, she has sat through this entire meeting, so I think we ought to recognize her
Yeah.
for probably being the
Maybe take her
first
to dinner.
and only public commenter that sat through the entire Murfreesboro City Council meeting. You've got a great idea, and we do wish you well. It'll be a great event if you can pull this off.
Amaya is a senior at MTSU from South Carolina, and gave a great recommendation on a possible festival around the square. So some of the best ideas, most of the best ideas don't come from us. So they come from people like you. So thank you for coming and sitting through an entire meeting. We really appreciate you. Thank you for being in Murfreesboro. Want to wish everyone a great Good Friday tomorrow, and then also celebrating Easter this weekend. And hope everyone has a great Easter weekend with their family. So we are all blessed. And with that, we'll stand adjourned.